To end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity for all, India has committed to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. This requires an inclusive movement that brings together funders, nonprofits, and the government to address vulnerable segments of our society. Next, we have Gagan Sethi, founder of Janvikas and Center for Social Justice, who will speak about the need to address vulnerable segments through systems solutions.
So, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Dasra, for giving me this opportunity to be here with you in what is now Dasra is a movement in this country, and anybody who is part of the voluntary sector recognizes the role of Dasra as a very important player um, in building the narratives of where giving should be going. So really, thank you so much for bringing me here. And what I'll try really to do is the very idea of a nation building and in a sense, why are we building a nation for all? What does it mean? Um, when I was a young boy of 21 just entering this space, I remember my teacher, and I said, how long will this take? And he said, Gagan, count the life of a nation of every 10 years is 1 year. And therefore, we are only 6.3 odd years old as a nation. And 6.3 years old as a nation is a condition where there is a lot of sibling rivalry. There is this infantile omnipotence of thinking, we are the greatest and we have done there. And therefore, the parents have to once in a while give you the reality check. Are we getting those reality checks? And I thought maybe together we can look at some of those reality checks which are very important. I'm here about 15 minutes with you, and I thought I would use some pictures which may tell more than words. But one thing I'm very clear at the base, before we even see the pictures, that we are talking no longer of poverty. We are talking of a systemic inequality, which is the root cause of all that is going on, not just in this country, but in this world. And it is from that lens that we start needing to look at our interventions. Is it promoting inequality? Is it furthering it? Or is it in any way re-architecturing the inequality that exists? Because as long as this inequality increases, and the Oxfam Inequality Report will tell you much more about it, that we are actually 1% of the total income of India is shared by 67 crore people. And I think when we look at livelihood, education, etc., we need to lens something is happening. Though I think we have, my first picture is about this as the ideal, which I thought was really captured my imagination, that every human being had the right to choice, self-determination, and to learn to build one's own unique identity, and essentially a core belief that individual history and life experiences, both painful and joyous, are sacrosanct. And therefore, to me, with this goes the story when I first started work about a young boy being sent to school, a Dalit boy being sent to school from the mother who cleaned up, wore a little torn shirt but was trying to sew it, combed his hair and said, go out, touch the feet of your dada and then go to school. And he went to the dada, the grandfather, who, blessed him, go to school, but disheveled his hair. And I was standing on the side. This was my first foray into the village. And I said, why did he do that? The mother took pains to comb the hair. And after he left, I asked him, Dada, why did you do what you did? And he said, I don't want my child to be beaten up in the village school because he's combed his hair. As a Dalit, children are not supposed to comb their hair. Now, if this is the seeding that takes place, how will this boy be a self-made man? How will he engage with the world when this is the message that he will take with him? And therefore, when we look at education, are we looking at substantive education? Are we looking at what's happening in the school? Are we looking at what kind of a discrimination is going on in the school with the midday meal? I think we need to be aware that there are stories and stories along with just building the schools and seeing that quality of education goes up. I think, what is quality? These are questions I thought I would ask. To me, this is, some of you have seen this. And there's a very interesting story of, it's again, this thing of truth and lie. Both were friends, and one day said, let's walk together. The lie told the truth, it's a marvelous day. The truth looks up to the skies and sighs. Yes, the day was beautiful. They spent a lot of time together, ultimately arriving beside a well. The lie tells the truth, water is very nice, let's take a bath together. The truth, once again suspicious of the lie, tests the water and discovers that it is indeed very nice. They undress, start bathing. Suddenly the lie comes out of the well, puts on the clothes of the truth and runs away. The furious truth comes out of the well and runs everywhere to find the lie and to get her clothes back. The world, seeing the truth naked, turns its gaze away with contempt and rage. The poor truth returns to the well and disappears forever, hiding therein its shame. Since then, the lie travels around the world, dressed as the truth, satisfying the needs of society, because the world, in any case, harbors no wish at all to meet the naked truth. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of truth if we want to listen to it. The stories of discrimination. My friend and colleague whom I worked with on Dalit rights is Martin, and he has this, I remember a young boy who died, and we came to know that he committed suicide. And when we are workers, and we work in about 1,000 villages across the state, went for the post-mortem. He had rigor mortis, and when we opened it up, we found a small little piece of paper. And he didn't give it to the doctor, and police just brought that piece of paper. And that paper said, it's all right, my teacher discriminates with me, makes me sit at the back. But that day he called my father and he abused him in front of everybody and said, I'll see how you come up in life. And if my teacher tells me that I can't come up in life, what's the use of my living? So I'm killing myself. This is just 2 years back. To me, we can construct a lot of untruths as truths. Now we build walls to cover the poor. We want to hide the truth because we are ashamed of our poverty. These are questions which to me are very important, and I think we need to ask them. We are a hungry country. In our hunger index, we are way below. We are 112 out of 170 in the hunger index. Yet we are talking of ease of business. How do we balance these two realities? Which is truth and which is lie? I ask these fundamental questions if we really want to be in an equitable society, or are we in such a hurry that we want to dislodge the poor and run away and become larger and larger? These are questions which come to my mind. But then there is hope, because Akhamma Devi was there in 1130 and 1160. A Brahmin family coming but became a Jogan and a spiritual teacher to challenge the way people looked at women. 1130, 1160, ladies and gentlemen, she removed her clothes and walked naked from village to village, preaching against caste and gender discrimination. We had the toilet and sanitation program, but we still have women Dalit women who dare not go out because there are women or men waiting for them outside to rape them. Just happened one in Tamil Nadu just 2 months back. I think we need to ask that question. And therefore, I want to put this fourth picture, which says much more than anything else. How do we treat our labor? What is the constructs that we create? What is the inequality of income that we have created? What does jobs mean? 1,500 rupees out of is a job, living wage today. 5,000 in an urban area. Try and see whether one can survive in that. And therefore, what is needed in the public investment space? Have we to invest much more in health, education, and how do we systemically prove where it has to go? Is it to be equitable? I think these are fundamental questions we need to raise. And I'll just end by this guy who wrote this book, which gives us this identity. For me, I think his words are very important. It is not enough to have just a politically independent India. What is also needed is to have an Indian nation where every citizen will have religious and political rights. And Delhi and Gujarat, from where I come, everybody says it's a repeat happening there. There is no nations of Indians in the real sense of the word. It is yet to be created. In believing we are a nation, we are cherishing a delusion. How can people get divided into thousands of castes be a nation? The sooner we realize that we are not yet a nation in social and psychological sense of the word, it's the better for us, and we will re-architecture, and that's where one looks up to Dasra, partners, civil society, philanthropy. You can invest in what you're doing, but please invest in justice. Please invest in the rule of law. That's critical for sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gagan. You've posed so many thought-provoking questions that I'm sure many of us will be thinking about that today, tomorrow, and maybe for many, many more months to come.